Ladies and gentlemen, it's with my deepest sorrow that I must inform you that I think I'm going to have to cancel Shangri-La Frontier. We have witnessed far too much abuse on the bunny people in this series, and it's time we take Emul away from Sunraku. We don't know exactly what Sunraku did, but you could probably assume that anything from him using Emul as a gauntlet to punch a dragon in the face to destroy it, throwing Emul like a goddamn hand grenade, grabbing her by the ears and spinning her and hitting anything in its way could all be a possibility. Granted, we don't see exactly how supposedly Emul was the savior of defeating that big dragon, that wyvern. But I've seen enough of this damn man. Throwing her into the pack of hungry wolves after her, leaving her for dead. This man should not have a goddamn pet. It's hilarious. It is. I was actually mad salty at first when I realized that they weren't going to because as soon as they show me the design of this creature, I was like, oh, that's a really cool. I'm not expecting it's going to be a multi-episode fight. I thought it would be like a 2-minute fight at max, but I like the design. So when they cut away and they're like, whew, that was a fight. I was like, you guys suck. I was like, I understand you've been teasing and, like kind of like really spoiling the viewer as of late, but like you got to show us. And then they make it so comedic with how Emul is just like the viewer not knowing what the hell happened. Maybe you could interpret that as a good thing, that like, oh, like nothing bad, but no. Everything I've seen from Sunraku, despite knowing he does care for this poor little bunny, he has done some questionable shit to her. And if anything, my mind isn't racing of all the cool ways Emul won that fight. My mind is racing on the ways he abused Emul to win that fight. It's entirely possible he grabbed her and threw her and it pierced the dragon and she got knocked out from that. You can't even say I'm over-exaggerating with that. Like, we've seen enough that that's probably a likely option. But what another 10 out of 10 episode. Just so much happened. The show is legitimately getting better. We have the path, of course, of the real wolf fight. They're teasing the Kraken. 10 out of 10, man. There's nothing else you really need to say if we're being honest. Of course, if you want to support my work, though, and see my full thoughts to these episodes, I do have a Patreon where we have those full live reactions if you're so interested. So, didn't go exactly the way I thought it was, but I really enjoy what they did. It's because I thought there was one of two things. It was a troll and he was going to die, or he was getting teleported to a unique area. I saw a lot of people say that, oh, it's just going to be a troll death, and honestly, it had me a little concerned. I was like, maybe, but is that really good enough? Instead, no, he got cursed more. If anything, I actually think his curse looks cooler now. I don't know, maybe it's just because maybe it's the difference of a faded tattoo versus a fresh tattoo. It's kind of the best way to describe it. So there is some benefits. There's also some negativity. The curse is stronger, essentially. And it makes sense only he got this reward / curse because he was the only one with the curse approaching this fight. So they all ended up with the unique scenario and the item, which is basically like a homing beacon to find the real boss fight. So it's not like the others got screwed out, they did all this hard work and they got nothing. No, they have the quest to fight the real boss. So they benefited. If anything, I'm pretty sure Saiger Zero's okay not getting the curse because she wouldn't be able to use her badass armor for more than a couple of seconds. Because Sunraku can actually equip things now, but it's after a set amount of time, we don't know how long, it will break. So I'm kind of interested if he can cheese it, because I've seen systems where something similar, like, oh, if you use something for say 60 seconds or, after so many hits the sword breaks, but the way the game's programmed, you could just unequip and re-equip it and it's like it resets the timer. Shangri-La probably isn't going to do that. It's a pretty well-balanced game, but at the same time, that doesn't mean there couldn't be exploits that maybe going into something like Inventoria is a weird in-between so it resets it. I don't know. All I know is if our boy equips anything from Inventoria and that shit shatters, his other two pals are probably actually going to string him by the nuts and drag him across town square. Not even in the game, but in real life. Like, it could be bad. Though, he can also now equip things, so given that they're actually hinting that we're going to be getting at least one more big boss fight this season, I mean, he's probably going to equip something. Of course, higher level monsters going to attack him and all that other stuff, but it's actually a pretty good bonus. And he technically gets another bonus / curse all in one, which is called the Fool. So initially I misinterpreted what they were implying. The way the kind of like fortune teller was talking, I thought to myself, are they implying he's not going to be able to travel? And my thought was fast travel. So that's going to go out the window. I was like, oh, this is going to be the worst one. In actuality, it's the type of curse that I would want, because all of his cast time, so his ability cooldowns, are reduced in half. You could give me, I get one-shotted, and I would probably say I want to try that. So he does take way more damage, and the afflictions and stuff, they last longer, but in all honesty, the dude's already built like a glass cannon. My assumption of Sunraku is that by the end of this show's run, a wind just kind of breezing past him a little too much, a leaf brushing past his skin's probably going to one-shot him with all the curse and debuffs he'll have, but he's also going to one-shot high dragons. Like, that's the type of character I see him as, so if anything, it's the perfect thing. And they even confirm, maybe I'm misremembering, but apparently Sunraku's not limited to level 99. So because he's defeated at least a level 100 monster, it does the extend, meaning his level cap is no longer capped. And the idea of Saiger Zero implying that, like, the reason that's so insane is the way she did that is by using an entire guild to defeat this insane fight. And the fact that he did it, I didn't realize it's only been a month. In a month's time, our boy has defeated one of the 7 unique Colossals, has half of the quest done for another, and is on his way to the 3rd. If that ain't a pro gamer move, I don't know what is. It would have been funny, though, had they not confirmed that, of course, our little ninjutsu girl wasn't, of course, Rust from the other game. Because, you know, for a long time there, for a little bit, people were like, no, it's gotta be, even though I kept saying, I was like, I don't get it, because her mannerisms are completely different. As soon as Rust came into SLF, she immediately felt like Rust. She was kind of bitchy, because that was her aura. She was kind of bitchy and a hard ass. And immediately it was like, how did we ever... Like, I get it on one hand, the scar, but as soon as you see a smiling character versus the stern, like, I'm in charge here, it's a night and day difference. I just find it funny. I don't know, SLF's got a lot going on for it right now. It feels like it knows what it wants to do. I think I'm most interested because I assume the Kraken is going to be, like, the thing we fight next. Not saying we guarantee beat it this season. I mean, we already are in partially another boss fight if we think about it, but... Sunraku's playstyle, he would need a boat or need some sort of land in the middle of the water. Usually these types of fights in video games, you have to, you know, defeat the tentacles that are trying to swat at you, and then sometimes the head would pop up and then you can attack it. But SLF being such an immersive game, I wouldn't be surprised either if they actually have to fight underwater at some point. So there's a lot of uncertainty of what's going to happen, but they have a lot of breadcrumbs laid down and multiple paths they can go down. So it's really, whatever they decide is going to be great. They did release a new poster image, I think yesterday, and it doesn't really, I don't know what that implies, so I guess that's a good thing. So it's kind of up in the air on where the show really wants to go, but you can't convince me that they didn't do at least something slightly disturbing to Emul. Grabbing her by the ears, spinning her around, throwing her like a bowling ball or a basketball, wearing her like a gauntlet. Like, something messed up happened. There's no way. Like, I get they would probably want to screw with Emul, but at the same time, he's abused her up to this point. That's not even an exaggeration, but you know I love this show, man, but I don't think I'll ever be able to forgive my man for the shit he's put this poor bunny through. You let me know what you thought down below. Theories if you got any. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course, ring that bell, and like I mentioned, we got those full live reactions over on Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. So today we got Justin Hayes, Amy, Amino Villas, Oliseum, JC Bat 21, Lunchbox Slayer, Joseph, and we also have Blue Wizard. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care, and you all have a good one.